YouTube, this is your boy Unruly, and we're gonna talk about Mortal Kombat, and I got my hands on it, and like some of you guys, it's the internet, so you guys are gonna be like, what? You didn't play that game. You're just a dude on the internet. Well, right here is my E3 badge, as you can see right here, Online Warrior Productions. Some of you may know I'm good friends with Maximilian, the super awesome #1 fighting game guy on YouTube, and he's my fighting game buddy, and we play fighting games together, and we got invited. And more proof, this was the shirt that they were giving away at E3, signed by Ed Boon, and then Steve Baran, who's the art director in MK. And here's the one from 2011. I went to E3 and got this signed when this came out in 2011. Never worn the shirt, but yeah, I mean, I go to E3 every year. Okay, enough of the intro. Let's talk about the game. So when we got to E3, the showroom wasn't open, so we waited in line, and we made sure the very first thing that we did was go to the NetherRealm booth. And here's some footage that I shot on my cell phone when we got there, and it was pretty hype. What it was, like, let's say if you didn't get behind the scenes access, you got to see a show and a presentation, and it was put on by the NetherRealm guys. So the very first one we did was by Ed, and we got in there, and then we pretty much see this. We saw that, and we're like, oh dude, it's Sonya. And Ed goes, oh yeah, this is Cassie Cage, Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade's daughter. And we were like, what? Yeah, literally, that's what we did in the stage. And you can see here right there is every character has 3 variations, and it's pretty awesome. And we were talking to them behind the scenes, and like, yeah, we wanted to make it, like a lot of times characters had their, people had their favorite characters, and, like sometimes they would face a Cabal, or they would face, like a Kung Lao, and they needed to change, their style, like they'd have to pick a different character. But now they made it so like, oh, you can have a more defensive Scorpion, that's his Inferno style right there, and that's Devorah's Swarm Queen style right there. So they made it so you don't really have to like change your character depending on who the other character picks. You can just kind of change the style, which is it's pretty awesome. And it's going to be pretty interesting in tournament play, because let's say you got a zoning Scorpion, and then you kind of pick a and that move right there, the Swarm, that's exclusive to that style, the Swarm Queen. So if you pick another style, you won't have that move, and that move leads to some pretty serious combos. And I was having them show me in the back. I'm like, come on, show me some stuff, So they showed me some pretty nasty combos. And there's an interactable, you probably already know that they can be blocked, so it's not so much like Injustice right there. And actually, that move where she did the little pokes with their stinger, that's a universal move. So no matter what style you pick, you have that move, and that move is so awesome. That little Molina kick right there, where he summons that little hell minion, it's such an awesome anti-air right there. And those 2 moves are only available in Sub-Zero's Inferno style. And you can tell that little skull on the side of Scorpion right there. That's how you can tell he has his Inferno style. I mean, like, there'll be little changes to the costume, which is a pretty cool thing. So that right there, that's her Swarm move. So that stance is really good, like if you want to get some damaging combos, and that move hits low. So I was using it when I was playing Devorah, and it kind of kept like my buddy guessing, because he had to like constantly hold down and block to block that move. And we got a few hours back there with the game, and it was, I definitely got to say thank you to all the guys in NetherRealm right there. And like the Swarm Queen, like I don't know if I would call it maybe an it's probably an offensive style. It helps you get a lot bigger combos. Let's see what else right there. What can I say? I mean, the game is gorgeous. The animation has come such a long way in every single game. Like Mortal Kombat 9 was a huge leap from Mortal Kombat versus DC. And, and then, Injustice, they got way better. And now this, it's it's gotten so much, the game moves so much at a faster rate. The animation is so smooth. And like, I've never been like a guy that's like, oh, I need the animation to be good, you know, because if you come, you know, if you're playing like a Street Fighter guys, like Super Street Fighter loyalist, they're gonna like, the number one gripe about Mortal Kombat is, oh, it's so stiff, it's so robotic. But like, I've never even cared about that. I just cared if the game was fun. And like, you know, with Mortal Kombat, the combos were so awesome. Like if you're doing a combo with Cyrax or Ermac, they just looked legit. Like, you know, Ermac's combos were awesome. And I didn't even notice. I'm like, to me, the game never looks stiff. I'm never like, oh, you know, and that's just kind of weird. That's how Capcom fans are. Like, they would just get turned off by it. It's like, oh, they move so robotic. And for me, that was never a deal breaker. But then this is like actually the first time I started playing it, and I noticed, I'm like, damn, looks really smooth. This looks really legit. So, but like regardless, even if it was like MK9, I would still play it. But now the game just runs so smooth. The animations are so fluid. And all right, so there's Ferritor, and Ferritor's a really legit character. He's like basically Grundy, Doomsday, and Bane, kind of like all in one. And like depending on the styles that you pick, it actually plays pretty similar to those characters, you know. Like, and what's cool is like this is Mortal Kombat's first true grappler, you know, character, and so it's pretty awesome. It's something I've been waiting for. Like I was hoping in MK9, like they would make Jax like the real grappler kind of character, and you know they never really did. And you know, almost all characters had the same walk speed and the same kind of thing. But you know, this game is changing that. And if you kind of notice, like Ferritor looks like, you know, different from any Mortal Kombat character you've ever seen. And you know, same thing with Devora. I was talking to Steve Baran kind of behind the scenes, and he was telling me that like Ed, like in this version of Mortal Kombat, he's like, he just gave the creative people, is like, dude, you know, like, here you go, have at it, you know. And you know, like before, I think, you know, and I think that's why the game looks so beautiful. It's like, and the characters look so cool and unique that Ed Boon gave the, you know, the creative team freedom. So that's why you see, you know, Ferritor look completely different, and that's why you have another character like Devora, you know, the Bug Girl. That's like something that you've never seen in Mortal Kombat. Like I literally, the first time I saw her, I thought it was an Injustice or a comic book character. I'm like, oh look, but you know, it was a Mortal Kombat character. And cool thing is, this stage is actually in Outworld. It's the Outworld like bazaar, and you know, so and it makes you kind of think, because Outworld has been so gloomy and so dark in all the previous Mortal Kombats that like you kind of got to think like something's going on. Like looks like Outworld is doing a lot better for itself. Like if you listen, you know, if you paid attention to the story, you know, Outworld's just been ruled by Shao Kahn. It's like a third world country, like super third world country, and that has the best interactable in the game. It's an old lady who's watching the fight. You can just go over there, pick her up, throw her at your opponent, and she crumples and pretty much dies. And the guys told us that she has a name. It's like Bertha or Agnes or something like that. And yeah, you can literally throw an old lady at your opponent, which is pretty legit. And I mean, you could take a look here. I mean, the visuals are stunning. It's not that much different from, you know, that CG trailer that you saw. I mean, the team did just an amazing job. Like, this was easily like, and I'm not trying to be biased because yes, I am an MK fan, but this was one of my top 3 games of E3. And I'm going to talk about another fighting game. I did play Guilty Gear, and Guilty Gear was gorgeous. It was super cinematic. It was 3D, but it still looked very 3D. It still looked very hand-drawn, and that game was really good. I mean, I have to go to Batman, Mortal Kombat, and Guilty Gear were just amazing games that I saw on the show and were really impressed by. And yeah, I'm just, you know, the game was just so fluid. Animations were amazing. just so hyped. And that's the thing that makes me sad. Like about every E3, you play the game and then you gotta wait 6 months. But oh, and there's Sub-Zero's parry that I was talking about. It's so fast, and the window is actually pretty long. So which makes it like if you're a super offensive player, you know, like that move will just shut you down. Because I was playing against my buddy Simmons, and you probably know him as Doom, and he's never been an MK fan, and he just kept kicking my ass because I know I'm always rushing, and he would just do that move, and yeah, it'd be done. So yeah, Sub-Zero, definitely, you know, one of my new favorite characters in the game now. He moves so much faster. He can be way more offensive now, as well as defensive. And like Max and my buddy Steve were playing just nothing but Sub-Zero battles, and they were just having a blast. And you know, they were already saying, "Oh, dude, Sub-Zero's top tier." But you know, just messing around and just for this build. And right here is Scorpion's fatality. So they cut off the part, but literally what happens next? Have you ever seen the movie Equilibrium, where he just slices off half of his face, like the front half of his face, and you see it just slide off, you know, his head, and you see his brain, and you see the tongue just going, yeah, right there. And it's insane. Like with the graphics, it's just so graphic. Guys, this has been my first video. I'm going to come out with a lot more. Thanks for watching.